You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. SC ends up landing Lincoln Riley when it looked like LSU might, and then LSU ends up landing Brian Kelly. So I'd love to get your reaction first to what happened with Lincoln ending up out in SoCal.
I love it. I don't think that all the stuff with player constant movement and transfer portals and coaches leaving in the middle of a season, I don't think it's great for football, for college football and the optics of it. And when there's 500 kids in a transfer portal and coaches can leave after telling a kid they're not. I get it, though. I don't begrudge Brian Kelly or Lincoln Riley for leaving. They went for what they'd consider better for their careers. Kids transfer, so it's better for their careers, and we finally caught up to where the kids get an opportunity to actually do what coaches do, leave for the betterment of their career. And so I'm okay with it. It's never going to be a perfect system. I know Notre Dame was bummed, but you know what? You find gems when one guy leaves, and Marcus Freeman's got a great opportunity. SC's been floundering for about a decade or so, and you get Lincoln Riley, who's one of the best and hottest commodities in college football and in coaching, and they went different than Coach Orgeron, a buttoned-up guy who's not from there. He's a Northeast guy. I mean, everything. And, you know, it's the school's trying to win. And if I'm a businessman, I want the best people, and I want the best coach, or I want the best salesperson. So I don't have a problem. I know people, well, we can't do this, and everybody has some fake outrage and all that stuff. I'm not. I know along the way people are bothered and get hurt by these things, but we now, if a kid doesn't like that a coach left, he can leave. And I do get it because people don't just buy the program. When I was going to USC, when I was recruited, John Robinson was I was a Trojan fan growing up, but I could have been a fan somewhere else. I considered Notre Dame, and I considered BYU and Stanford and Cal Berkeley. I came down, it was a difficult decision. I chose USC because I wanted to play with what I thought was the best, but the reason I chose them, and I almost chose BYU because I love Lavelle Edwards. So it was John Robinson who was the trump card for me, and that most kids now buy the coach instead of the program, and you see your legacy, and so you take the risk. So I don't have a problem with it. I wish that we could, and I don't know how, Matt, because of the bowl games and the early signing period, I wish we could move the date and not allow coaches to leave, to at least interview for other jobs, and everybody was on an even playing field when the season ended. Or when it's down to 4 games and you can go interview, but you can't announce it, kind of like what you do with the coordinators in pro, to leave everybody in an even playing field. So the Notre Dame situation can't happen, that when you're possibly going to be in a Final Four, that you're still there to coach them. But you know what? Maybe Marcus Freeman will be better for Notre Dame than Brian Kelly was, and Brian Kelly's the all-time leading winning coach in Notre Dame, so he did great things. But every single one of these guys, every one of them, and I love Coach Kelly, I love Lincoln Riley, Cristobal, not one of the coaches who's leaving has ever done what? Won a national championship. So they all feel like they got something to prove, and the money's so big now they don't have to go to the NFL. I don't begrudge any of them. I just wish the system was a little different for everybody. But we're now on an equal playing field because the kid can up and leave. Quinn Ewers can leave.
Yeah.
Get name, image, and likeness, leave, and be ready to play on campus and be the starting quarterback in a month. There you go.
Sean, give me an outside perspective, because I'll tell you what the narrative here has been for a week, okay? And so I'm curious your thought, being in Houston, having a more national perspective. The narrative here has been people have understood and applauded Lincoln Riley. They've applauded Mario Cristobal in Miami. They've applauded Brent Venables going to Oklahoma. Name it. While mostly it's been negative, Brian Kelly coming to LSU and then all the making fun of the fake Southern accent thing. Is that people who are just being a little too sensitive, or is there something to that nationally where the narrative has been positive with the other moves and negative toward Brian Kelly?
With great success comes tremendous critics. I mean, you think about all the great coaches that have gone to Notre Dame and have been through Notre Dame. We've never had one leave while he was still employed. He's either been fired on his own, meaning I'm going to leave Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the Notre Dame's the ceiling. It's the most historic college program. The football program is the most historic job in college sports. That includes North Carolina and Duke and Kentucky and UCLA basketball, and that's John Wood. Notre Dame is the biggest face on Mount Rushmore when it comes to historic. Mm-hmm. But guys just don't leave Notre Dame. Brian Kelly did. I don't know why. He left what was better for him, and I always just simply throw this back into the lap of other people, and I'm anxious to hear the narrative. I think I have a little bit of idea since we're neighboring states, but right there, the buzz, you're in the middle of it. I don't know why. I've spoken at a convention many times, given motivational speeches to Fortune 500 companies, Maddie, and I was speaking to a nurses group once, doctors and nurses, about 600 people. And I had one question at the end, left it open, and one hand on the microphone for the audience, and they said, hey, they started talking about loyalty. And we're talking about, well, you know what, there's no loyalty in sports. Why would they? You know, we hear that all the time. And I just simply posed the question, all right, you're a nurse or a doctor, and the Mayo Clinic or Johns Hopkins offers you a job to be the chief of staff for $400,000 more today, and you've got a major surgery coming up for somebody but you have to take the job within a week or they're going to give it to somebody else. What would you do? And then nobody talks. And it's easy to say, I know the answer. So, well, and I think a lot of this, and I'm going to tell you, I believe this. And I like Coach Kelly. I don't think he's, when you go into some place, you hear it, you try to throw a little accent. I don't care that Brian Kelly doesn't have gumbo cooking in a pot on his stove, and he'll learn to eat gumbo and fit in. When we hear culture, you don't have to be from Boston to coach at Boston College. You don't have to be from Southern California to coach or to coach USC. All the accent stuff, well, I know it's right there. If that's the case, then Coach Orgeron would be at LSU for 50 years.
Yeah.
You don't need that. You got to win. What do you want? You want somebody you like who's from your part of the country? I'm talking about Southern California or Brian Kelly. Do you want somebody from your part of the country, or you want somebody who's going to come in and do something and change and win again for you? Brian Kelly knows how to win, but I can tell you this. He's a very abrasive guy. He does it his way. He's got old school coaching mentality, but he knows offensive football. I think that some people don't like him because he's not, cool with the media all the time. Now he is in front of the people at the LSU basketball game. But we pick and choose. We have selective criticism. What's the difference? Because he left Notre Dame and they were kind of in the hunt. Well, there's $3 or $4 million extra reasons why he left. Would you like to see him finish the gig? Yeah, but he didn't. Hold it against him. But LSU fans will get over it if they go 10-2 or 11-1, and he's in the Final Four next year. And just like Oklahoma fans complain about Lincoln Riley, guess what? If Dabo woke up like a week ago and said, I want to go coach at Oklahoma, and left Clemson, all the people that criticize Lincoln Riley for bailing on Oklahoma would welcome Dabo or Quinn Ewers as a transfer, Ohio State, that criticizing him, an 18-year-old kid from leaving, if they got a transfer quarterback in there. So it's, what can you do for my program, but you left my program, so I'm bitter at you. So I'm not worried about how the fans feel about Brian Kelly, because if he wins, not a one of them will say a damn thing, nor will they say anything about Lincoln Riley at USC if he wins. Nobody will care how they got there.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.